Hey watch lovers, Brad from Brent Miller Jewelers. And today I pulled back out the Grand Seiko limited edition, the SBGH311 on my left and the SBGR325 on my left. I reviewed both of these independently or individually when we first received them at different times. And today I thought I'd pull them back out and really just put them side by side and get them in the same video in case somebody, maybe cross-shopping both or just wants to see both of them side by side and is not able to do that locally. So again, the SBGH3111 and the SBGR325 here were limited editions, recent limited editions of 1,200 units each. And both of them sport we'll call it a 37 millimeter case. So again, the dimensions on these, 36.8 is what I measured. 36.9 is what I measured diagonally above the crown, diagonally across. So again, just short of that 37 millimeter mark. And then I measured them both across the polished bezel here, the stainless steel bezel that sits on top of the case. I measured that at 34.3, and that was straight across the 3 to the 9. And then the crystal on these, again, is the same size at 29.8 millimeters. So just short of 30 millimeters on the crystal itself. Both of them are a nice compact 44.4 millimeters lug tip to lug tip. We have drilled lug holes on both models. And then we have 19 millimeter lug width tapering to 18 millimeters at the deployant clasp here. So just a very slight 1 millimeter taper down to the deployant clasp. And then we have exhibition case backs on both with outstanding looking rotors. You can hopefully see the color on both. We have a little bit of a darker blue on the 325 here. And we have a lighter blue on the 311. Different movements. So on the 311, we do have a automatic high beat movement versus just the automatic movement. So the high beat movement is the 9S85, 55 hours of power reserve versus the automatic here, the 9S65, 72 hours of power reserve. So you're getting slightly higher power reserve on the non-high beat. Both of them, obviously, date windows here at 3 o'clock, nicely framed. And I will say you have, it's not a white date window, which I think looks great. It's kind of an off-white, almost have a silver tone to it, which I really like on both of these dials. I think both dials are fantastic. Both blued second hands. We have signed non-screw down crowns. So the crowns on these are not screw down. However, we do have 100 meters of water resistance. And they both weigh the same, even though different movements. Slightly different. 141.4 grams is what I had on the 301 and 141.5. So literally almost identical on the 325. You have a sunburst, a really nice sunburst pattern on your 325 here with this blue. And then you have a really, this is the first dial that Grand Seiko has done in this fashion on this model, which I think is really nice, kind of just changes in light. I like it quite a bit myself, so I think both are really nice. Retail price, the high beat is going to run you $6,600 and the automatic here is going to run you $5,300. So we have a $1,300 price difference. And as much as I do like this model, I do prefer the white dial here. To me, that blue second hand just pops a little bit more on that white. Again, I think they're both fantastic. If you're looking for a model, a 37 millimeter size, I'm a huge fan of the size on both on these models. Let me throw these on my 6 3/4 inch wrist. And again, I know some folks have commented, a little bit too thick, but I will say at 13.4 thick, they wear really well for this size in my personal opinion. Sometimes, I feel like the smaller watches, the smaller case size watches, if it's too thin, is almost too diminutive, doesn't have enough substance on wrist. Listen, if you guys watch the channel, I do like that 36 to 38 millimeter, 40 millimeters a little bit, kind of getting out of my sweet spot, but I really like the size of these on my wrist, and I'm perfectly fine with the case thickness. It kind of does sit, you can see the case back there, it does kind of sit. If I had this, I wear my watches relatively tight. It just sits in. Again, try them on if you can, but I certainly like the case size on these and would absolutely wear either one of these. I'm hoping to see more options, more dials, colors, and textures here in this case size. Hopefully these have done well for Grand Seiko to support that. So again, really just wanted to put these side by side and ask you for your preference. If you were buying one of these, you're in the market for a a sub 38 millimeter watch. Which one of these would you take? Is it the 325 or the 311 on my left or the 325 on my right? As always, thanks for viewing. If there's anything I can do for you, shoot me an email, brad@brentlmiller.com, and we'll see you in the next video.